coming down the pike, big-time immigration bills. Senator Gould in the Senate, myself in the House, have the 14th Amendment Citizenship Bill. You know, 14th Amendment basically says, you know, that all people who are born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. The left likes to forget and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. You know, that phrase is there for a purpose. If that phrase meant nothing, it wouldn't be there. So it's not enough just to be born here, you have to be subject to our jurisdiction. Now the game that they're playing is, they're using the contemporary definition of subject to jurisdiction, meaning you could be locked up, arrested, what have you, but subject to our laws. That is not what those who wrote the 14th Amendment intended it to mean. On floor debate and statements, they clearly said that subject to jurisdiction meant you owed your sole allegiance to the United States. That's what they said it meant. Right? Even if that's not the case, even if the issue was our jurisdiction, illegal aliens aren't subject to our legal jurisdiction completely, because they can't vote, they can't be drafted, you know, they aren't allowed to have certain benefits. But regardless of that, it means you owe sole allegiance, and they don't. In fact, the first Supreme Court case to deal with the definition of that, the meaning of that phrase, right, the slaughterhouse cases, clearly said it doesn't mean you can be arrested, it means you owe sole allegiance to the United States. There was a follow-up case involving a Native American who claimed that he was a citizen, and the Supreme Court said, no, you're not a citizen because your parents owed their allegiance to the sovereign tribe, and that's not the U.S. And they denied that Native American citizenship. The Ork case. Then there, that case eludes me. But the next case was the son of Chinese immigrants who were not citizens but were permanent legal residents. He left the country and was denied re-entry, claiming he wasn't a citizen because his parents, you know, didn't owe sole allegiance. Went to court. He was given citizenship, but the court noted that his parents were not illegal aliens. His parents were permanent legal residents, but not citizens. There has never been a U.S. Supreme Court case that says the children of somebody here illegally, or for that matter, a child born of a visiting tourist is a citizen. The furthest they've gone is permanent legal residence kids are citizens. Right? So we believe that this interpretation is flawed, and that's why we have two bills whose sole purpose is to trigger a federal lawsuit that'll go to the Supreme Court. And then we'll let the Supreme Court decide once and for all what is the meaning of this phrase. The people who are for illegal immigration, for amnesty, you know, they run around claiming, oh, this is solved, this is settled case law. It's not settled case law. Even Justice Scalia, when he was being interviewed as part of his confirmation process, stated, in his opinion, it is not settled law. It has never been decided. And there are scholars on our side that agree. There are plenty of great scholars on the other side that say, my side's wrong. Hey, fine, let's go to court. That's the way we settle cases in this country. So we're going to be pushing that case. Senator Pierce just introduced an omnibus immigration bill, which is simply meant to tie up the loose ends that were never properly tightened when we did an anti-illegal immigration proposition, Prop 100, back in 2003 or 4, where we said, where the voters, 80% of the voters said, no public benefits to illegal aliens, right? And this bill simply clarifies that. This bill simply says, hey, you're required within 30 days of bringing a child to a K-12 school to show proof of ID, proof of age. We've simply said you do that now with documents that prove legal presence. And are we depriving the kid of education? No. If you can't provide those documents, the child is still enrolled in the school. The Supreme Court decision says we have to do that. But what we are doing is we're bringing the data to the Department of Education in Arizona so we know how many of these children are here illegally, and we have an idea of the cost. Oh, and we're also notifying law enforcement of the name and address of the family here illegally. and see what law enforcement wants to do. And we're doing the same thing with public housing. If you hear it, you can't rent public housing. A public housing authority can't give you a lease until they prove that you're here legally. And you don't get a driver's license if you're not here illegally. Now, why do you want to give people the tools to live, prosper, and compete against people here legally when they're not supposed to be here in the first place? So this bill is going to address a whole array of benefits and seal them up. Same thing with hospitals. We're not telling hospitals to turn anybody away. All we're saying to hospitals is, if you're going to, on the spot, sign somebody up into our public Medicaid indigent health care program, which is what they do, you got to do exactly what that person has to do when they go to an access office. Proof of legal residence. The way it happens now, somebody rolls into the hospital, they're eligible for access because they're, below the poverty level, and the hospital says, we'll sign you up for access, and they're allowed to do that. And they put them right on so that you people pay for the health care, right? But they don't ask for proof of citizenship. Well, we're saying, you know what? If they went to the state office to sign up, they'd have to do proof of citizenship. You're going to do it in the hospital. And if you don't do it, we're not going to pay you for it. And now that you're making us immigration police, guess what? Every single employee in that hospital had to produce proof of legal presence to get a job in that hospital. Just like I had to prove proof of legal presence to get a job at the college where I work. In this country, everybody has to prove proof of legal presence to get any job. So is every employer immigration police? And why can't hospitals do that? Particularly since they're not spending their money, they're spending our money on this care. So we're just asking them to do what they already do for their own employees. And it is not rocket science. There's a list of about 12 documents that prove legal presence, and you just have the person show that document. And if they don't, then you can still treat them. We're not stopping you, but you better make sure they come back with that document, because if they don't, then this health care is on your dime and not the people's dime.